and welcome to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show NFL edition on Bog Radio in association with 24 Flicks, also RadioQDX.com out of Lucama, North Carolina, and KCHF TV 11 out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're going to bring out our usual panel of suspects, beginning with Nephew, Caleb Lopes, all the way live from Port St. Lucie, Florida. What's up, Caleb?
What's up, Maurice?
It's good to see you, man. And we're going to go out to Washington, D.C. and bring out our good buddy, Antoine A.S. Stewart. What's up, Stu?
What's up, fellas?
What's up, Stu?
Man, it's good to see you. Aaron Moore, unable to join us tonight. Perhaps he may check in a little bit later, but wow, what a weekend of NFL action. There were three great games. One, not so much. And we're going to kind of dive into that a little bit because the AFC Championship and the NFC Championship, they're established. But the AFC Divisional Round this past weekend started out with the Baltimore Ravens 34-10 over the Houston Texans. Your thoughts on this matchup and the final results, Stu?
Man, it definitely it started off good. Score was 10-10 going into the half. I thought, like, okay, let's see what happens. And then Lamar, I heard later that he gave the halftime speech, and whatever he said, it worked because they looked like a totally different team. They blew the doors off the Texans in the second half and dominated the rest of the game. Can't take too much from the Texans, you know, with a young rookie quarterback. They weren't, a lot of people didn't have them even making the playoffs this year. They accomplished that, and they have a lot to work on and build going forward into next season. But hats off to Lamar Jackson. He looked every bit of it like an MVP, and he got the monkey off his back with winning another playoff game. Now he should be 2-3. A lot of people were, and even myself had some worries about how he was going to do in that moment. He showed up. So hats off to the Ravens.
Hats off to the Ravens. I've already got mine off, but I'll say this. You know, I just thought C.J. Stroud would have shown up. He did not in this one. Caleb, your thoughts on the final score there in the AFC Divisional Round in Baltimore, Maryland on Saturday? 34-10 Baltimore over Houston.
Maybe the moment got too big for CJ, but I wouldn't take anything from him just yet. He has a very bright future. I feel like that Houston Texans organization, they found their guy in him. But like you said, Stu, hats off to Lamar. Maybe they were just a little bit rusty coming off the bye. They looked amazing in that second half. Hats off to the Ravens. Props to them. And they're going to the AFC Championship.
They're going to the AFC Championship. I thought that Lamar Jackson was overjoyed at the help he was getting from his receivers. Lamar Jackson appreciates his guys. And I don't know if you noticed, but after every TD throw, he went over and high-fived, chest bumped his wide receiver. And that's what receivers love from their quarterback, the appreciation for the effort. You know, you run all the way down there to that end zone, and you thank that receiver for making that grab. Lamar Jackson wants this one. And I don't know that I've ever seen a Lamar Jackson this enthusiastic, this intent on winning the whole thing. Now, he's got to have some work to do against Kansas City because I believe you me, Kansas City, they ain't Houston. They're not. And I think we're going to find out how bad does Lamar want this thing, because here comes Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. And as I speak of the Kansas City Chiefs, what a game on Sunday night in Buffalo, New York. They had to get all that snow out of there so they could play this game. 27-24, Kansas City in Buffalo's house. Stu, your thoughts?
That was a great game. Playoff football at its finest. It was a back and forth game. I know we were talking earlier that if the Buffalo Bills were to get a win, this had to be the year. The Kansas City Chiefs and Mahomes and company were struggling this year. They weren't playing their best football, but we all know that in the postseason, Mahomes has another gear that he cranks it into. And regardless of how things were looking going before that, that's not going to be the same Mahomes and team that you see. And it was not. They showed up. The Bills had every opportunity to get it done, but Josh Allen couldn't get it done in the moments what counted the most, and the Chiefs were able to get that done. So hats off to the Chiefs.
Hats off to Kansas City. Caleb, we're watching Buffalo now with an opportunity at home to maybe finally break through, not only break through, but get revenge on the Chiefs in one of the greatest playoff games we've ever seen in Kansas City, not more than 2 years ago. And now they have a shot to get redemption at home in Buffalo, and they come up short yet again. Your thoughts?
Another unfortunate loss for the Bills, but one thing I am going to say, you can't pin it all on Tyler Bass. On that drive.
Try telling the Buffalo fans that. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Caleb. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, but on that drive, there were dropped balls and there were bad reads by Josh Allen. He had a lot of wide open receivers and he missed out on them trying to go for a home run ball. And they just had a lot of small mistakes here and there. I thought they were going to pull through at the end, but mistakes add up, and the Chiefs capitalized, and they're the ones that are moving on, and that's how the playoffs work. So hats off to them.
Without question, Caleb, there were times when you looked at Josh Allen, particularly when the game was getting tight, and you thought, Josh, why don't you just run the ball? I mean, they couldn't stop him. They had one drive in particular where they just ran the ball down Kansas City's throat. They were dragging Chris, what's the defensive tackle's name, number 95 for the Chiefs? Is Chris Ward, Chris Thompson? What's his name, Stu?
Is it not Jones, are you?
Chris Jones. Yeah. They were dragging this guy down the field, and they power football their way down there to a score. And then there were other moments where Josh kept looking and looking and looking, and it's like, Josh, just run the ball. Just run over a linebacker, man, and get the first down and go back to the huddle and work out the next down. But he just kept trying to force throws. And I just think that that's the difference between Josh Allen and a guy like a Patrick Mahomes. You know, Patrick Mahomes showcased everything in his arsenal. It's like when they had to get a score, the Chiefs got a score. Those receivers were hanging on the ball. He was weaving himself out of trouble. He knew when to get out of bounds. He ran for 30 yards if he had to. I mean, he could do a little bit of Josh Allen himself, as well as Patrick Mahomes is in the AFC Championship for the 5th consecutive year. And this time he did it while being on the road. And you just look at Buffalo and you feel bad for him. I mean, year after year, those poor fans, they're freezing, those frozen mustaches and, you know, all that hot soup they're drinking and whatnot. And they're yelling and screaming, go Buffalo, and it's minus 15. And they can't get it done. And, you know, you hate to blame the kicker, but it's one thing to miss. It's another one to miss it on a banana curl kick.
Yeah.
Like, yo, dude, what are you doing? And so they lose the ball game 27-24. Not a single point scored by either team. Correct me if I'm wrong, in the 4th period. You know, you think this thing's going to be like in the high 30s, low 40s. This is going to be a crazy ending. And no, but still, a very entertaining game, one of the most entertaining playoff games of the weekend. You could take your pick. There were a number of other ones that occurred in the NFC. And one of those included my boys, the Green Bay Packers, and your boys, Stu, the San Francisco 49ers, 24-21, San Francisco at the Bay. Your thoughts?
Man, great game. I was telling everybody, don't sleep on Green Bay. In the playoffs, everybody's record is the same, you know, in that first week. So I knew that you guys were going to come in hot. I knew that you were going to try to establish the run with Aaron Jones. I knew that you guys were coming off of a big win in Dallas, and this is not the same Green Bay team that we're used to seeing. And they may be a little bit younger, and that's usually a better thing because they don't have those memories of the Aaron Rodgers and the losing and stuff. They come in there with the confidence that we can beat this team. And you guys did it, man. You fought hard. Brock didn't have his best game. You know, the elements were a little crazy, but he did what he had to do to get it done. And in that last drive, and when the moment was on, without Debo, you know, he ended up getting it done. A lot of people were saying, can Brock win without Debo? And Debo went out early. He went out, I think, like the first drive he went out and he was done. And, you know, that messed the game plan up because you got to take into account of he was a big part of that game plan, and they had to go to, okay, let's just play some backyard football. And, you know, it's wet, it's raining. You know, we got a team in here that's trying to come in here and win. Can we get it done? And we end up getting it done in the end. Definitely not Brock Purdy's best game, but it's one that I wanted to see how he could play without Debo. And when you're not playing your best football, can you figure out a way to win? The great teams figure out a way, and they were able to get that done against the Packers.
I'll say this, and Caleb, I want you to pick this up, but I would like to say, as a Packer fan, I know my team. And I was afraid that Jordan would revert back to what I saw maybe 2 months ago, making ill-advised throws. And I don't like our kicker, Anders Carlson. Never liked him because he's missed a lot of PATs. He's missed a lot of chip shot. Guy can kick at 60 yards. Got great leg. And he can actually make them more from 60 than he can from 30. You know, and I'm just like, you know, oh my gosh, what are you doing? And I was afraid of that. But the Packers got farther than they had a right to get. And I'll take it as a Packer fan. Caleb, your thoughts, 49ers 24-21 over the Packers at the Bay.
You know, good job to the Packers. They really held out, almost winning this game right at the end against a great 49ers defense, great 49ers team. But when the lights shine the brightest, I feel like the Packers wilted away a little bit, and Brock Purdy took that advantage and capitalized, winning the game for them. But I don't think you'd want to sleep on the Packers. I think Jordan Love is going to be the guy from now on. He showed that to us. No question. He does have a lot to improve on, but he is the man. And like you said, Maurice, they went further than expected, and that's always a good thing to see if you're a fan of that team.
That's what I take away as a win as a Packer fan. Like, we had no business in this game, and we were there. In fact, with a shot to win it. Yeah. And I actually thought for a moment, I dared thought for a moment that we're going to win, because you're looking at Anders Carlson, like I said, missing somewhat of a chippy. It was 41 yards. So it was somewhat of a chippy. For a guy that can kick at 60 plus, and missed it. And that would have certainly, at a worst case scenario, made it an overtime game. But prior to that, Jordan had thrown 2 picks, one of which was a high sailored to Tucker Kraft, which caromed off of his hands, and I think Greenlaw Your linebacker, Dre Greenlaw, picked that one off. And of course, the ridiculous throw across the field. Now, instead of looking at like Aaron Rodgers, you're looking like Brett Favre. And you're going to throw this thing across your body to the other side of the field. And he explained himself. He said, well, I saw Christian Watson, and I thought I could have made the throw. But to your point, Stu and Caleb, I mean, the Packers are the youngest team in the NFL, and they took probably the world champs, in my opinion. I think the 49ers are the best football team in the league. And if they get Debo back next week, and they will, they're gonna give him the medicine. You know the medicine I'm talking. They're gonna give him the medicine. Okay. And Debo's gonna be there. You can bet your bottom dollar. Debo Samuel's gonna be there. And if that continues going forward, I think they'll win the whole thing. So we had the world champs on the ropes as a young squad. I'll take that as a win, even though it's a loss. One of my students at the school told me today, yeah, but you didn't win. I know. Now I don't need to hear any more from you. All right, let's go. Let's go to the next topic here. The Detroit Lions 31-23 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a thriller at Ford Field. I think we may have lost Antoine A.S. Stewart, but for the time being, Caleb, your thoughts on the Lions and Buccaneers?
This is another good playoff game. And the Bucs, I feel like they were hanging in there most of the game. But Detroit, they were, I feel like, handling this game a little bit better. I do have faith in them. They could be a sneaky opponent for the 49ers if they don't get things handled. But Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield, they had a chance to come back, a 2-minute drill drive, and Baker, he just hands it to the defense, finishes off the game, and the Detroit Lions win this one. And they're going to the NFC Championship to play the 49ers. And hats off to them. They played in a hard-fought game, and they played 4-quarter football and won the game.
Yeah, and Caleb, you're right. They played 4 quarters of good football and won the ball game. And I have to say this because I've said a lot of negative things about Baker Mayfield. I've made a lot of fun of Baker Mayfield. But I'm going to be totally honest with you. Not only did he play well in this game, if I look at Baker Mayfield's body of work for the year, he's played pretty decently at quarterback. I mean, Baker will get back there and he will pitch that rock and make good throws. He'll make good reads. He looks safeties off, and all of the mechanics that you need from a quarterback, from his footwork to ball placement, standing tall in the pocket, all of that stuff. He's done well. And quite frankly and honestly, you take a couple of plays away in this game, and maybe it's Tampa Bay going to the NFC Championship. So hats off to Baker Mayfield. I really did not give him a lot of credit as a quarterback, but I think he deserves praise for having a good year. Hats off to Buccaneers and Todd Bowles, the head coach for the Buccaneers, getting there to the divisional round and making a game of it. It was not a cakewalk for the Lions. I can tell you that right now. It was not a cakewalk. I want to look at the NFL headlines as we look at what happened in these divisional round games. And Caleb, my first question is, we talked about Debo Samuel. Can the 49ers function at a high level if they don't have Debo Samuel on the field?
I mean, of course, you're gonna get stunted when you don't have your wide receiver one on field. But as the 49ers showed us, coming into the Packers on that drive to win the game, they can function. And I think Brock Purdy proved a lot of us wrong that he doesn't need every single piece of that offense to be a good quarterback. So I will say it does have an impact on any offense to lose your wide receiver one. But I still do think that the 49ers can function at a high level without Debo.
So I want to move over now to the Houston Texans and talk about C.J. Stroud. Were we too quick to anoint C.J. Stroud as the new dude? Was the moment simply too big against the Baltimore Ravens?
I'm not going to say that just yet. C.J. Stroud, he has a great future ahead of him. He's my rookie of the year. And the moment was very big, but I will say that Ravens defense, it'll shut down even a great veteran quarterback if you don't watch out. The Ravens have a great team on that side of the ball, and it's hard for a rookie quarterback to make reads and make great passes and keep the game going when you don't have a lot of momentum and the defensive line is constantly coming after you. It was hard for him, and that was happening all game. So I do think C.J. Stroud, he could have done a little bit better of a job, but I'm going to give more credit to that defense coming after him and making it a hard time for him to throw that ball and ball out like we've seen him do this season than him being in his head and thinking the moment was too big.
Well, I think that when I say were we too quick to anoint CJ, I don't mean that in a negative way. I think he's going to be a fantastic quarterback. In fact, I think he's already a fantastic quarterback, but he was going up against one of the best teams defensively in the NFL on their turf in a playoff atmosphere he's never experienced. And I think when you look at the body of work in this particular game and the point production of the Texans, he did not produce a single touchdown. And I think, you know, the 10 points that they did get came on a punt return to the house, which brought a little drama to the game. All of a sudden, we're looking like, hey, Lamar, how you going to respond, bro? How are you going to respond? And respond he did. Okay, Lamar Jackson responded, and C.J. Stroud did not. And I was very surprised at that, which is why I asked the question, and I'll pose it to you, Stu. Was the moment too big for CJ? The stage?
I'm gonna say yes. I don't think it started off that way, but we all know a game is 4 quarters.
Yeah.
First half, second half, can you maintain that level of play throughout the game? And we know when that third and especially that fourth quarter comes in, it's another drive you got to kick in, and they weren't able to do it. You know, they would. It was his first year being a rookie, first time in that type of playoff experience.
Yeah.
I think he handled it pretty well, but he also got a lot to take from that to learn moving forward. No question about it that CJ is the guy at the Texans, and you know, he was playing a dominant team. Is one of the teams that you would probably want to play maybe in the AFC Championship game and not that game. You know, it's unfortunate because the Baltimore is a hot team. They're the #1 team for a reason, and they spanked up on the Texans.
We talked about I talked about Jordan Love's performance in the divisional round against the 49ers. He did throw 2 picks. He had only thrown 1 pick in the last 9 games. And he throws 2 in 1. And again, kind of looking at how he had kind of reverted a little bit. And there was a lot of talk about maybe a contract extension for Jordan Love. They lose the ball game. And a real barn burner. I mean, they weren't blown out. I mean, they pushed the 49ers to the edge. Do the Packers pay Jordan Love a contract extension after his playoff run, or did he show, like C.J. Stroud's do, that he's not quite there yet?
If they don't pay him, they'll be fools.
Okay.
He showed me what the coach saw in him when he drafted him, I thought that was one of the worst decisions ever, especially in a year with Aaron Rodgers and you were at the cusp of competing for a Super Bowl. And I'm like, get him a receiver, get whatever you can get to help the team win now, you know. And I see now what he saw in Love then. And I'm impressed. Like I said, you guys weren't supposed to be in the postseason. To be honest with you, I feel like you would have had a better record if Aaron Jones didn't go missing. You know, he got injured, unfortunately. I think if you would have had that Aaron Jones situation, you would have been a higher seed going into the postseason. So hats off to Love, man. He has nothing to hang his head down about. That was a learning lesson. I think he learned some things, and it's, for me, is no better way to learn than to actually do it. When you mess up, it's nothing like, instead of somebody telling you, hey man, you know, don't do this, it's not a good look. When you actually do that and you feel the pain of throwing a pick in a must-win playoff game, I think he's probably going to learn, like, I know not to do that now. Like, I don't want to ever have to go through that again. And, you know, this is the NFL. You're going to have those moments, just like Brock Purdy and CJ Stroud and all these young quarterbacks. They're going to have these moments. The more seasoned guys like, you know, Mahomes and Allen and stuff like that, they've kind of been there a little longer, so they should know better. But hats off to Love, man. If you guys don't pay him, somebody else will. I think that they shouldn't have any problem paying that man.
Well, and you know, it's interesting, as you mentioned Aaron Jones. One thing I did not expect in this matchup was for Aaron to kind of gash the 49ers like he did the Cowboys. Now, he didn't do that as he gashed Dallas, but he gashed the 49ers fairly well. And I did not see that coming. And, of course, that made life easier for Jordan. I thought he should have done even better because Aaron was really, you know, getting loose. But I'll pose the question to you, Caleb. Do the Packers pay Jordan Love a contract extension? Or is he like C.J. Stroud, not quite there yet?
Oh, yeah, they definitely pay him. Jordan Love, this is his first year as a starter. He's basically a rookie. He's never played a whole season in the NFL. He is still learning. And even though he's still learning, he made it to the divisional round of the playoffs. And, I mean, that if I was a head coach or a general manager, I'd be very happy with him. I'd definitely throw him some money, keep him there, and work him up. I know he's going to be a great quarterback. We saw glimpses of it this year, and I think the Packers have something in him. They should pay him, and I expect many more playoff runs like this to come out of Love in the future.
Well, he actually pitched the ball around the yard pretty good over the last couple of months, and I think this was a year that the Packers got, as Stu accurately stated, about getting their money's worth out of him going back to the draft, when everyone thought, hey, look, you guys got to be kidding me. Get Aaron Rodgers a receiver here and go win now. But now you see the reasoning and the thinking of Brian Gutekunst at that time of saying, no, I think we see something in this kid. And the reality is Aaron Rodgers can't play forever. And they went ahead and pulled the trigger on it. And we have what we have. Moving forward, the next headline that I want to throw out is the Buffalo Bills. As we stated, you know, they were at home with a clear shot and road to the Super Bowl. And they fell, you know, short once again. My question is to you, Stu, what happens next for the Buffalo Bills?
Back to the drawing board. You know, back to the drawing board. You know, it's not like they don't have a team. It's not like they don't have receivers, backs, great coaches. They have their quarterback. They just didn't get it done. The biggest question now is with Josh Allen is his inability to get it done when it matters the most. In that moment when you need a first down or you need a touchdown, you need a drive, he's been unable to get it done to win these big games. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league, a big guy, run over linebackers, can throw it 70 yards down the field. But in those big moments, he seems to go missing. He seems to not quite get it done. And that's the biggest thing. He has to go do some soul searching, because they got everything. It's not like they saying, oh, we're a few pieces away and let's have a great draft and you got it all. You just got to get it done. And that's something he has to figure out, because you don't want to go down as being known as the guy with all the talent who just couldn't get it done. And that's the way it's looking right now until he can prove otherwise.
So when I say or ask the question, what happens next for the Buffalo Bills, I think the question begs, what do we do to help Josh Allen see the field better? Does he need a quarterback whisperer? Does he need a new offensive coordinator? Does Sean McDermott deserve to come back as head coach of the Buffalo Bills? What are they going to do about Stephon Diggs? Do Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs have a good relationship? Has that deteriorated? You start looking at the Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown situation. They haven't been jiving. There are a lot of questions you start to ask about Buffalo, because the clock is ticking on that team. I think they got about a 2 or 3 year window. I'd say a 2-year window currently as it stands to actually go get a Super Bowl. Caleb, your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, the clock is definitely ticking. They have a great defense, even though there are a lot of pieces missing. Matt Milano was out for the season. Trey White was out for the season. And I feel like they do need to go back to the drawing board. They need to get something into the minds and spirit of that team that's just not there. That thing you said about Stephon Diggs, yeah, it was just really strange. Midway through the season, they just almost completely stopped throwing to him.
Yeah,
he hasn't had over 100 yards in like 8 weeks, and I do want to say I don't think it's the offensive coordinator. Joe Brady has done a great job since he was hired, since he was placed there, and I think this offseason it's gonna be make or break for the Bills. They're gonna have to find something out about Josh Allen, about that team, or they might not ever be able to get it done with this squad.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Maurice Brown Comedy Show on Bog Radio in association with 24 Flicks and RadioQDX.com in Lucama, North Carolina, and KCHF TV 11 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Welcoming Aaron Too Tall Moore to the show from Washington, D.C. Aaron, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, fellas?
So we're talking about the Buffalo Bills. And what now? What's next? What can Buffalo do that they haven't already done to get to a Super Bowl? Your thoughts? What happens next?
I think they bring everybody back. They gave that game away. If you think about it, it's 3 plays that stand out. The Diggs bomb that dropped. It was another pass that was dropped that and then the final Josh Allen throw when the lineman kind of bumped into him. Josh threw it. He didn't have enough on it, but the guy was wide open in the end of the end zone. They had everything they needed to win that game. They just didn't make the plays, and Kansas City did. It was nothing more Josh Allen can do. I mean, Diggs has to make that catch. If he's so-called that receiver, he has to make that catch. What else do you want Josh Allen to do? I mean, should he the left tackle's coming, should he felt the pocket, stepped up, got more in the end zone and hit the guy for the touchdown? You could say that, but I mean, to get where they got to at the end of the year and from what they was going through in the middle of the regular season, of the struggles that they kind of got a a little hiccup and they were struggling. Didn't know what Buffalo team was going to show up. They almost beat Kansas City. Probably add a couple more pieces, maybe help help him in the running game a little bit more, get another running back in there. But I mean, what if you strip it down, then you starting all over again. I mean, what I say run it back again with the same group.
So as we say all of that, and Buffalo, they're out. Kansas City moves on to the AFC Championship for yet a 5th consecutive time. But now we're looking at Baltimore, and we're looking at Lamar Jackson playing for arguably the best team in the NFL right now in the Baltimore Ravens. Does Lamar Jackson, Stu, have to at least make it to the Super Bowl for critics to give him the credit he deserves?
I heard somebody on one of the shows say today, I don't think they'll never give him the credit he deserves. You're always going to have those haters that's going to hate on him, and you're going to have the guys who love him. You're going to have the people who, man, Lamar is awesome, and you're going to have the guys who always got something negative to say. Because if he wins the Super Bowl, then it's going to be like, can he do it again? That's going to be the next thing. Because all the greats, they had more than one. Can you be consecutive? So it's one of those things where for Lamar, I think the goal is Super Bowl. That for every player that's playing, whether you made the postseason or not, the goal is to win a championship. That's on everybody's mind. And I think that as far as himself, he won't be happy unless he gets one. After he gets one, whether he has consecutive ones or not, just to get that one and just say, I accomplished that, I think that'll be good enough for him. And then, of course, you want to run it back and win more. But I think definitely, as far as the critics are concerned, it's Super Bowl or bust for him. More than a Super Bowl bust for the Niners, too, to be honest with you, with Shanahan. I mean, we done been there, tasted it too much to where it's like you got all this talent, it's no excuse. Like Aaron and you guys have said, Lamar has the receiving cast around him, the supporting cast. The defense is playing lights out. His coach has already won a Super Bowl. He's with a Super Bowl winning coach. The scene is set for him to go ahead and get it done this year. I think anything other than that will be a disappointment to him and that team. So I think that he definitely has to win one this year, or there'll be a lot of critics talking a lot of smack about him.
As you accurately stated, Stu, haters gonna hate. So Caleb, I posed the question to you. Does Lamar Jackson have to at least get to the big game, to the Super Bowl, for critics to just, leave him alone and give him the credit he deserves?
I mean, like, it'll definitely shut them up for a while. We'll say that. But like you said, Stu, there's always going to be the people who want more. It's never going to be enough for them. I feel like there's always going to be the haters. And Lamar Jackson, I think he is a great quarterback. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's going to win MVP this year again. At least he has my vote if I had one. And I think Lamar, if he wins the Super Bowl, there is nothing that critics have. There's nothing the critics have against him anymore. There's nothing you can really say with a clear basis. Oh, he can't win in the playoffs. He proved that this year he can go out, win the hard-fought games. And the Super Bowl is the only thing missing from his trophy case. And I personally think he's going to get it done this year. And that'll definitely shut up the ESPN for a little bit.
Aaron Too Tall Moore, your thoughts. Does Lamar have to get to the bowl for the critics to leave him alone?
Yes, not only does he have to get it, he has to win it. He has to win it because that talks about his greatness and what type of player he is. Because he doesn't want to be in that area with Dan Marino. great player,
Right.
great quarterback, great Hall of Fame quarterback, but never got one.
Yeah.
So Lamar's in that room. So he has to win one, and at least one. Multiples, that's another conversation, but he has to get his first one. And I would say this: the road is set for Baltimore to win the Super Bowl. And the reason I say that is because I believe San Francisco is going to beat Detroit, but and I believe Baltimore is going to beat Kansas City. The reason I say that is because Baltimore already went into San Francisco house and beat them. Now, whether you say whatever you say or how they won or why they won or whatever, the stage is set for Lamar to already do it again to win the Super Bowl. And if he doesn't, he's going to get the criticism. He's going to get the criticism. And I don't think it's deserved in my opinion, but of course, like Stewart said, for some reason Lamar is in that category. Either you love him or you hate him.
Yeah.
I don't know how he got in that category, but that seems in the media point of view and every talking about him, maybe you love him or you hate him.
Well, so, I mean, we know how he got in that category is called melanin. Let me just say this: I want to switch over to trivia questions before we head into the next block of the show. And it's one thing to win a lot of playoff games at a quarterback, but it's another thing as a starting quarterback to go on the road and win. Who has more road playoff victories as a starting quarterback is my trivia question to you guys.
Of all time or?
All time.
Dang,
that's a lot of quarterbacks.
A lot of quarterbacks.
Wow. I'm going to let you go first, Caleb.
I'm gonna go with like the longevity, so I think I'm gonna take Brady. Then I'm gonna take Tom.
You know what? You're right, but there's somebody else that tied it.
Okay, I was gonna play it safe too and say Brady, but
no, Brady is correct. That's always a great answer when you talk about greatness at QB. But there's another quarterback that you would not suspect that has tied him for road playoff victories. And the number is 7, by the way. It's not a huge
Eli
number.
Manning.
Not Eli Manning. Caleb, you want to take a stab at it?
Peyton?
Who?
Peyton Manning?
Nope, not Peyton Manning. It's a good answer. You would have figured it would be Peyton. It is not.
Is it Brent Favre?
It is not Brett Favre. This one's going to shock you. It is Mr. Joe Flacco.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Joe Flacco with 7 road playoff victories.
Yeah, his name didn't even come to my mind.
No, nobody. That's why I said I didn't think you guys would get the tying name with Tom Brady. Nobody would suspect it was Joe Flacco. But when Joe Flacco was with Baltimore and they had Ray Lewis, they had some great runs.
They did.
And so with that being said, last question. We know that Tom Brady he's number 1 for all-time playoff victories, period, home or away. But the next person is Terry Bradshaw. I'll go ahead and give you that one. But his number is only 14, from 35 to 14. Brady with 35, Terry Bradshaw with 14. Who is number 3 on that list?
Let's see. Road playoff wins.
This is total playoff victories at start.
Oh, total.
Yeah.
Man. And none of the names we said earlier, right?
No.
Okay. What you got, Caleb?
I think I'm gonna go with Patrick Mahomes.
And Caleb is right again.
Oh,
See, here we go.
Patrick Mahomes.
Dang.
Excellent job, Caleb. Tom Brady with 35, Terry Bradshaw with 14, and Patrick Mahomes at 13. And as you guys accurately stated, there have been a lot of quarterbacks to play this game. And Patrick Mahomes has only been in the league for 5 years. And he's already – this is the all-time list. He's already third in playoff victories. And so now, as I say all of that, that sets us up to look at our championship weekend, the AFC Championship game on Sunday at 3 p.m. on CBS has the Patrick Mahomes-led Kansas City Chiefs going to Baltimore, Maryland to take on the Baltimore Ravens. Stu, what's your call on this game?
Man, talking about a great game and also a potential passing of the torch to Lamar Jackson if the Baltimore Ravens are able to get it done.
Yeah.
And not only get it done, but get it done against the last year's champion, against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. What better stage to set that moving forward into the Super Bowl that we had to go through Mahomes to get there. So that's a huge game. Can never count out Mahomes. I mean, no matter how bad it looks in the postseason, he's just a different guy. You cannot count him out. But I think the scene is set for Baltimore to go ahead and get it done. I think that defense and the way Lamar is playing this year, I think they have what it takes to get it done at home against a good Chiefs team. Who's clicking right now. You know, the way that they played that postseason game, the receivers were catching balls, the running back was doing this thing. We know Mahomes is going to do his thing, but I definitely know this is not going to be easy, and this is going to push that Ravens team to the limits because Mahomes knows no quit until it's 0-0 on this clock. So it's going to be a great game. I'm going to go ahead and take Baltimore at home to get it done.
Caleb, your thoughts on this matchup?
I'm gonna have to go the same way. I'm gonna take the Ravens. I'm gonna take Lamar, and I'm gonna take that defense, which I think this game is gonna be a defensive game. Whoever scores the least amount of points is whichever defense does the best is the team that's gonna win. Whoever can generate a turnover or two is going to win. This game is going to be real great. It's going to come down to the wire. Like you said, it's going to be a 4-quarter game, but I will take the Ravens over the Chiefs at 3 o'clock.
Aaron, too tall more.
Yeah, I said it earlier. I've been picking Kansas City all season. And I did pick Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl, but Baltimore has changed my tune. These last couple weeks in the regular season, and they started to change my tune when they went to San Francisco and did that to San Francisco. That started putting my antennas up, and then of course what they did to Houston. I got the Ravens, man. I don't think Kansas City is going to be able to run the ball on the Ravens, which means the Ravens can concentrate on Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. If they make them two guys uncomfortable, not on the same, of course Travis Kelce gonna get his a little bit, but not on the same like usual, then the Ravens. And the Ravens are going to win. I don't believe Kansas City defense can stop the Ravens' #1 rushing team running game. They couldn't stop Buffalo's running game, so I don't believe they're going to be able to stop their running game, which means the more they run the ball, the more Patrick Mahomes is going to be on the sideline, the more points they could put up on the board. So, yeah, I got the Ravens.
There are two things that concern me in this matchup, which makes it difficult for me to make a pick. Number one is the fact that Lamar Jackson had to give a halftime speech to play to beat the Houston Texans. Kansas City ain't Houston. Let's just understand that. And to have to get his team up to beat a team like Houston concerns me. Number two, I don't think Kansas City offensively can be stopped by anybody. And I think that Patrick Mahomes guy that we were waiting to see the last 2-3 weeks, maybe, he's shown up. And I think the Ravens are going to have a problem because Lamar Jackson now has to really show everybody that he's worth the $253 billion that he's making. Didn't have to against San Francisco because San Francisco imploded. And he certainly hadn't had to do it too many other times during the season. But this is the AFC Championship, and I'm just going to have to go with the Chiefs. I want to go with Lamar, but this dude, Patrick Mahomes, is amazing. The guy he just got my attention and stamp when they beat Buffalo in Buffalo. I was like, there's no way Buffalo is going to let the Chiefs come in here and win this game. And don't go if he didn't do it again. So I'm going with the Chiefs. I hate to say that about Lamar because I want Lamar to break through, but it's just something about Mahomes and the Chiefs, man. They don't die. They don't die even when they're supposed to. They don't. I'm going with Kansas City. NFC Championship game, 6:30 p.m. Fox. The Detroit Lions versus the San Francisco 49ers. Your 49ers, Stu. Your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a great game. Another great postseason matchup. I personally think it's going to be easier than the Packers game. As far as a quarterback position goes, Goff is not that mobile. And Nick Bosa and them are going to appreciate that. they don't have to go looking for him. Love can move a little bit. We all know what Lamar can do and stuff like that. And Goff is really that real pocket guy. He's going to be right up in that pocket. And I think Bosa and them are going to be able to affect this game. And hopefully no rain or anything like that. You got perfect regular Southern California conditions. They say it never rains in Southern California, but that hasn't been happening lately. So hopefully we get some nice sun and everything. And I think we're going to get after Detroit. I think, to be honest with you, I think both teams, us and Baltimore, were a little rusty with that 2 weeks off. And I think that with it being so close with the Packers game, I think that's going to awaken the beast in our team. And Debo's going to play. His arm would have to be hanging off the bone for him not to play. They're going to give him that good medicine. He's going to be in there, and we're coming hard. We're not sleeping on Detroit. We know what they're capable of. We're used to playing Jared Goff when the Rams. So it's not a foe that we're not used to seeing as far as him as a quarterback. We know that they fight hard. That coach got both sides of the ball fighting hard, and it's kind of like that picture perfect story with Detroit and their postseason woes and everything like that, but not this year. 49 is going ahead and handle business, and we'll be in the Super Bowl.
Caleb, your thoughts?
Yeah, I got San Fran all the way. I feel like they're the better team on paper and on field. And one thing that I feel like is going to help them a lot is when Jared Goff gets scared in that pocket, he can throw some picks. You catch him on a bad day, he'll throw you 2 or 3. And I'm not saying that might happen, but it's definitely a possibility. And if he doesn't watch out and choose his throws, he will get picked off by that defense. San Fran is no joke. The offense is high-powered, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this game gets away and San Fran runs up the score. But they do have to watch out. It's still a playoff game, and they have to come in there punching because the Lions will sneak up on you if you don't.
Aaron, too tall more.
I picked San Francisco, but there are a couple of factors that's going to impact this game a lot. One is Debo's health. Can he finish the game? And if he's playing, how effective is he? And another one, Gibbs, one, and Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson gonna have some stuff dialed up. I mean, he's up for a head coaching job for a reason, and he got golf playing his best. So I don't think this is gonna be a run over for the 49ers. And I'm gonna say this: if Debo is out and they have only McCaffrey, it may be a shocker. Because if you notice, last week when Debo went out and Purdy, they dropped the pick in the end zone, they dropped it, and he almost threw another pick. What did Shanahan do? He said, "All right, I got to get McCaffrey. Quick throws to McCaffrey. Hand the ball off to McCaffrey. McCaffrey.
Whoa.
That's all you saw.
Whoa. McCaffrey didn't get that much burn like he should have.
No. McCaffrey, when he realized he had to get McCaffrey the ball, he started giving McCaffrey the rock. And McCaffrey was opening up things. And then that started opening up a little things with the tight end. Ayuk caught a couple things, but that started opening up the offense when McCaffrey got involved and got going. But what I'm saying is Debo out, that gives this defense, and this defense is not slouch. This defense is nice. They can keep it close. I'm just saying. San Francisco has to be at full strength, and they can't let the Lions stick around because the Lions are gritty. They gritty. They never give up. They always fight, and they gritty. So if they let the Lions stick around, I believe they got to get up on them early. They got to get up on them early. If they get up on them early, then it's a wrap.
Well, I'm going to go back to what Caleb said about Jared Goff. If Jared Goff plays a clean game, the 49ers may be in trouble, particularly if Deebo Samuel cannot be, himself, even if he's out there and whatnot. But if Goff plays a clean game, the 49ers may be in for a ride. However, I'm not so sure he can because of the pressure the 49ers bring to bear on a quarterback that's not mobile. And it's just going to come down to whether or not Goff can, deal with that. Because if he starts throwing a couple of picks here and there, it's a wrap and it could get away. That thing could get away before you know it. So it just comes down to how Goff handles the pressure that the 49ers can bring. I think we're going to see a good ball game.
But Detroit is going to be balanced. That's why I brought up Gibbs. Don't sleep on Gibbs. Gibbs is a slasher. Montgomery's the pounder. But when Gibbs get in there, he only need a small crease. We seen it last week. He only need a small crease, and he could be out for 10, 15. So I believe they're going to be balanced. They're not going to let Goff just stand back and throw 51 times so they could pin their ears back and go get him. It's going to be balanced. And I believe Gibbs is going to be a key factor in that game.
Can we be honest, though? No disrespect to Detroit. They in the playoffs for a reason, but this is the big boys league. This is not the defense they saw last week. I thought the Tampa Bay defense would be a little bit better than that. These are not the playmakers they saw.
Stu, we're gonna have to dip out of here. But I got you. I got you. We will definitely continue this offline, but we got to get out of here for the good fans, the good folks at Bog Radio. Good morning, everybody. Enjoy the NFC and AFC Championship games coming up this weekend. Going to be fantastic, no doubt about it. May the peace of Christ be with you and your families, everybody, and God bless.